The ocean has always been both a pathway and a predator. It carries men and women toward promise, trade, and discovery, but it also hides countless secrets in its depths. Among these secrets, one story still chills the bones of sailors and historians alike: the story of the Mary Celeste. On a cold December morning in 1872, the British brigantine Dei Grazia was cutting through the mid-Atlantic swells. The sea was calm, the skies unusually clear for that season. Captain David Morehouse and his crew spotted something strange in the distance. A ship drifting aimlessly, sails partially raised, its movements too sluggish and erratic to belong to a vessel under command. As they drew closer, the men recognized the name stenciled across the bow: Mary Celeste. She was supposed to be en route from New York to Genoa, carrying a cargo of industrial alcohol. The sighting itself was odd. Her course was slightly off, her posture uneven against the water. Morehouse ordered a boarding party. What they found would etch itself into maritime legend. The Mary Celeste was not wrecked, not burned, not looted. Her cargo, over 1,700 barrels of alcohol, was intact. The galley still had utensils laid out as though a meal had been interrupted. The captain's logbook rested where it should. The sails were ragged but functional. Most of the provisions, food, and fresh water remained untouched. And yet, the ship was as silent as a tomb. The crew, 10 souls, including Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, were gone. No bodies, no lifeboat, no sign of struggle. It was as if the ocean had opened its mouth and swallowed them whole. To understand the unease this discovery caused, you must know something about Benjamin Briggs. By all accounts, Briggs was a meticulous, cautious man. He had sailed for years, never reckless, never careless. For this voyage, he had chosen the Mary Celeste, a sturdy brigantine recently refitted to ensure seaworthiness. He wasn't traveling alone. His wife, Sarah, had joined him despite the dangers of ocean voyages. With her came their toddler daughter, Sophia, bright-eyed, innocent, too young to fear the sea. Briggs wrote letters before departure that showed optimism, even a kind of contentment. He believed the voyage would be routine, profitable, and perhaps even enjoyable with his family close. This was not a man inclined to gamble with lives. And yet, within weeks of setting sail, those lives would vanish without trace. When Morehouse's men boarded the Mary Celeste, they noted details that deepened the mystery. The ship's single lifeboat was missing, but its ropes had been cut. Not neatly, not chaotically, but hurriedly. The bilge contained about 3 feet of water, not enough to threaten the ship's survival, but enough to unnerve a cautious captain. The chronometer and sextant were gone, tools essential for navigation if the crew had abandoned ship. The final log entry, dated 10 days earlier, described nothing alarming. It noted positions, winds, and routine details. No mention of storms, mutiny, or danger. If the Mary Celeste was sinking, it was doing so slowly, almost imperceptibly. And yet the crew had fled as though fire or death were already upon them. The investigation that followed left more questions than answers. Historians, sailors, and storytellers have all taken turns attempting to explain the disappearance, and yet none of the theories fit perfectly. One of the strongest theories involves the cargo itself. The 1,700 barrels of alcohol in the hold were not all secure. Several were found empty, leaking into the ship. Alcohol fumes are volatile, invisible, and highly flammable. It's possible that the crew smelled the fumes and believed the ship was about to explode. Imagine the panic. Captain Briggs, his wife clutching Sophia, crew members covering their mouths as the stench rose from the hold. Perhaps a sudden bang, just a minor barrel shifting, sounded like the start of a catastrophic fire. Briggs may have ordered everyone into the lifeboat temporarily, tethering it to the ship until the danger passed. But if the rope snapped or was cut in the chaos, the lifeboat would have drifted away, powerless against the vast Atlantic. The crew would have been left helpless, watching the ship they fled recede into the horizon, their fate sealed. It's plausible, it's tragic, but it doesn't explain everything. Others suggest mutiny, that the crew turned against their captain. But no signs of struggle were found, no evidence of looting, and the cargo remained untouched. Pirates, too, seem unlikely. Pirates do not leave valuable goods behind. Could it have been a sudden storm, a waterspout, or an earthquake beneath the ocean floor? A freak wave may have swept the deck, convincing Briggs the ship was doomed. Yet again, the vessel was sturdy and intact when found. One of the eeriest pieces of lore tied to the Mary Celeste is a journal fragment allegedly recovered from Briggs' cabin. The final entry was not in his handwriting. It described a man in dark clothes who had joined the voyage on the night before departure, claiming he had arranged passage. No such man appeared on the manifest. No such passenger was ever recorded. Was this superstition layered onto fact? Or did someone, unknown, unrecorded, truly step aboard that night, never to be accounted for again? Some say the Mary Celeste was cursed long before Briggs ever touched her wheel. The ship had a troubled history. Accidents, a previous captain's death, repeated misfortune. Superstitious sailors whispered she was unlucky. To see her later adrift with no crew only confirmed the legend. Local fishermen in the Azores claimed, months later, that a wrecked lifeboat had washed ashore on a desolate beach. Inside, they said, were signs of horror. Claw marks along the wood, as if passengers had tried to scramble out or fight against something unseen. No bodies were officially recovered. No lifeboat was documented. Just stories that grew darker with every telling. Years after the event, sailors in Genoa swore they saw Sarah Briggs walking the harbor in the very dress she wore when she boarded the ship. Others claimed they glimpsed the Mary Celeste itself decades later, sails billowing, drifting silently with no crew aboard, a phantom vessel cutting across moonlit waters. Whether these were hallucinations, lies, or echoes of something unexplainable, they added fuel to the legend. The Mary Celeste had become not just a ghost story, but the ghost ship story. At the heart of this mystery is not just a ship, it is a family. Imagine Sarah, clutching little Sophia in a lifeboat, eyes fixed on the drifting form of the Mary Celeste. Imagine Briggs, a man known for caution, making the agonizing decision to abandon the vessel he trusted. Imagine the crew, men hardened by sea life, realizing too late that their decision had doomed them. The Atlantic is merciless. A lifeboat in its waters is a coffin with no lid. Perhaps they drifted for days, sun burning by day, cold biting at night, Sophia crying until her voice failed. Perhaps the sea claimed them quickly, a storm tipping the boat, the waves swallowing their last breaths. No gravestone bears their names. Their bones lie scattered, unmarked, somewhere in the endless blue. The Mary Celeste endures because it resists closure. Unlike shipwrecks where bodies are found, unlike storms where the destruction is clear, this mystery holds only absence. The ship survived, the people did not. We are left with an intact vessel, eerie in its silence, and no story to fill the gap with certainty. It is this void, the lack of explanation, that keeps the tale alive. Every sailor who hears it feels the chill of possibility, that the sea can take not just ships, but entire lives, leaving behind nothing but question. The Mary Celeste is more than a ghost ship. It is a reminder of how fragile human certainty is when pitted against the ocean. We can build vessels, chart courses, study weather, but the sea remains a vast, unknowable wilderness. Perhaps the alcohol fumes drove them into the lifeboat. Perhaps a stranger boarded and fate turned murderous. Perhaps something unearthly whispered to them from the depths. We will never know. What we do know is this. On that December morning in 1872, a ship was found adrift in the Atlantic, her timbers sound, her cargo untouched, her logbook neatly in place. And yet, her crew, 10 souls, flesh and blood, dreams and fears, had vanished as though erased from existence. The ocean does not always give back what it takes. And sometimes, in the silence of its waves, it leaves us not with answers, but with stories. Stories like the Mary Celeste, haunting, eternal, and forever unsolved.